Idaho has potatoes. Georgia has peaches. Louisiana has gumbo. Every state has a food story it tells loudly, on license plates and welcome signs. Delaware has never bothered. It is the second smallest state in the country, squeezed between two much louder neighbors, and it has spent 3 centuries quietly producing food history that changed what America eats for breakfast, lunch, and the county fair. An entire industry, a festival built around organ meat, a pizza so specific it needed its own name. Credit was never the point. We're going to hand some out anyway. Chicken, the broiler industry. It is 1923, Ocean View, Delaware. A farm wife named Cecile Steele orders 50 baby chicks from a local hatchery to raise for eggs, the way every farm family did back then. Chickens were livestock for laying, not for eating. Meat was what you got when a hen stopped producing. An afterthought, not a business. The hatchery makes a mistake. 500 chicks show up at her door instead of 50. Steele had a choice: send the extras back or figure something out. She figured something out. She built more coops, kept the chicks warm in a piano box in the corner of the house, and raised all 500 for meat instead of eggs, something almost nobody did on purpose in 1923. 387 of them survived to 2 pounds. She sold them for 62 cents a pound. The following year she raised 1,000. 2 years after that, 10,000. Her neighbors in Sussex County watched the money come in and started building coops of their own. A new highway helped it travel. DuPont Highway connected the lower county to Wilmington and the cities beyond. Trucks started hauling live birds north in half a day instead of a week. What Cecile Steele accidentally created in her backyard became the commercial broiler chicken industry, the entire reason chicken is cheap, fast, and everywhere in America today. Every drive-through nugget, every rotisserie bird, every bucket of fried chicken traces back, one way or another, to a farm wife who ordered the wrong number of chicks. Delaware didn't just eat chicken, it invented how America eats chicken: Scrapple. Before we go further, we need to talk about Scrapple. Not because it's glamorous, it is not. Because it might be the most honest food this region has ever produced. Pork scraps, cornmeal, and spices, boiled down, pressed into a loaf, sliced thick, fried hard in a cast iron pan until the edges go dark and crisp, while the inside stays soft. German settlers brought the technique down from Pennsylvania. Delaware didn't invent it. Delaware just refused to let it go. Down in Bridgeville, population under 2,000, Rapa Scrapple has been processing it since 1926, and the town smells like it every fall, whether visitors are ready for that or not. Since 1992, Bridgeville has run the Apple Scrapple Festival, drawing 25,000 people a year for a 2-day celebration centered on apples and organ meat, complete with a ladies' iron skillet toss, a Scrapple chunkin contest, and a mayor's Scrapple sling. There is a pageant, there is a parade. There is a plant on Cannon Street that everyone in town can smell working. Scrapple belongs to Pennsylvania on paper. In practice, Delaware built a town's entire identity around it, and nobody there seems to mind. Slippery dumplings. Then there's the dish nobody outside the region has heard of: slippery dumplings. Flat strips of dough, not the round fluffy kind, simmered directly in chicken broth until the starch thickens the whole pot. It's farm cooking, designed to stretch one chicken across a family dinner during lean years. No restaurant invented it. No chef claims it. It just shows up on Delaware tables every winter, quietly, the way it always has. Muskrat now for the one that makes people flinch. Muskrat. Yes, the marsh rodent, the one that looks like a small beaver with a rat's tail. Trapped from the wetlands around the Delaware Bay every winter between November and March, skinned, and served boiled, fried, or barbecued, head on or head off, at fire hall dinners and hunting clubs across Kent and Sussex County. The Wagon Wheel in Smyrna served it for decades before closing. A Food Network host once tried to talk the restaurant out of the tradition on camera. The Muskrat dinners came back the following season anyway. Lawmakers have stood up more than once to defend people's right to hunt and eat it. It tastes dark, earthy, faintly gamey, a flavor one longtime food critic compared to a house guest who overstayed his welcome. Generations of Delawareans acquired the taste on purpose, and some restaurants still hold Wednesday muskrat nights through the season. Other places up the coast call it a marsh rabbit and pretend the name makes it more polite. Delaware just calls it dinner. Grotto Pizza, June 1960. Rehoboth Beach. A 17-year-old named Dominic Puglieri opens a tiny takeout pizza stand with his sister and brother-in-law, using what he learned working a pizza counter back in Pennsylvania. Pizza barely exists on the Delaware coast at this point. Locals don't know what to make of it, a flat pie with cheese and sauce. Nothing like the fried chicken and crab houses they already know. So Puglieri does the only thing that works. He hands out free samples on the sidewalk, hour after hour, until people start coming back on their own. They come back. Grotto Pizza is born, built around a signature swirl crust and a cheese blend no one else on the coast has. And by the time the tourists from Washington and Philadelphia discover it, it's already a local institution. Slices sold for 20 cents that first summer, whole pies for $1.60. Today, there are more than 20 locations across 3 states. Still family-owned, still handing out samples at the beach. It didn't come out of a big city test kitchen. It came from a teenager and a used oven on Rehoboth Avenue, and a recipe he never bothered writing down for anyone else. Saltwater taffy didn't start in Delaware. Most food historians trace it back to Atlantic City in the 1880s, but walk the Rehoboth Beach Boardwalk and there's Dolle's. Taffy stretching back to 1926, its glowing orange sign hanging over a machine that survived the Great Storm of 1962, when the floodwater took out the old storefront and dropped the 3,000-pound taffy machine straight into the sand. They pulled it out with a crane, hauled it to a garage, restored it, and it's still cutting taffy today, decades later. Delaware didn't invent saltwater taffy. It just decided the candy belonged on its boardwalk, grew the tradition around it for a century, and after that long, no one bothers arguing otherwise. Peach Pie, Georgia has its peaches. Delaware has quietly grown them too, and used them to build a dessert that shows up at every county fair and church supper in Sussex County. Peach pie, made from fruit picked at farms that have worked the same orchards for generations. It's not flashy, it's not on a tourism billboard, it's just the pie that shows up when the harvest comes in, the way it has for 100 years. Blue Crab and Crab Cakes, the Delaware Bay, produces blue crabs the same way it always has, and Delaware cooks them the plain way, the right way. Steamed, dusted heavy with Old Bay, dumped on brown paper, picked apart by hand at a table with a mallet, and no shame about the mess. Crab cakes here skip the filler and let the meat do the work. No one in Delaware is trying to reinvent the crab. They're just not going to let Maryland claim the whole bay. Cream-chipped beef on toast. Cream-chipped beef on toast doesn't sound like much on paper. Dried beef, torn into ribbons, folded into a thick white gravy, spooned over toast until the bread goes soft underneath and stays crisp on the edges. It's Army mess hall food that migrated into Delaware diners and kitchens and stayed there, a Sunday morning staple no one bothered to dress up because it never needed dressing up. Boardwalk fries with malt vinegar, and on the boardwalk the fry stands do one thing better than almost anywhere else in the country. French fries, hot from the fryer, doused in malt vinegar instead of ketchup. It's a small habit, inherited from British and Irish tradition and adopted wholesale by the beach towns. But walk the Rehoboth Boardwalk on a summer night and you'll see it in almost every hand. Nobody remembers exactly when it started. Everybody agrees it's correct. This is Delaware, population under 1 million, the first state to ratify the Constitution, a coastline of beach towns and an interior of chicken farms that most of the country drives past on the way to somewhere else.